So, I want you to imagine something for a second. On July 24, 2026, the tech industry did something that honestly I thought was completely
Oh,
impossible.
totally unthinkable.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the most fiercely competitive companies on earth. I'm talking Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and most shockingly, OpenAI. They all signed this pact to just, essentially give their multi-billion-dollar secrets away for free.
Which is just wild when you really step back and look at it.
It's crazy. So we are looking at this manifesto that basically abandons the whole walled garden approach to software, the same approach that has, defined Silicon Valley for decades.
Right, the closed ecosystem.
Exactly. So today we are tearing open this document. It's titled Open Weights and American AI Leadership. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out why this huge coalition of tech titans is suddenly pivoting away from closed monopolies.
And how that's going to completely upend the software industry.
Yes, shatter traditional investment models and
Mhm.
honestly fundamentally rewrite the value of your own career. Okay, let's unpack this because
Yeah, the magnitude of this shift is just, it's really hard to overstate
Mhm.
because it attacks the foundational economics of modern tech. I mean, if you look back at the 1980s open source software movement, right, that challenged the whole belief that code had to be tightly controlled.
Right, and that eventually built the modern internet.
Exactly. And for years now, the prevailing strategy with AI was to treat models like digital fortresses.
Yeah.
You spend billions on silicon, millions on electricity, train this massive frontier model, and then you just lock it behind an API.
And charge a toll for every single query.
Right. But what this document signals is the industry basically conceding that the fortress strategy, it failed.
Wow.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
base layer of machine intelligence is rapidly becoming a public utility.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics here because the signatories on this document make for a really, really strange bedfellow scenario.
Oh, for sure.
But first, maybe we should define what we mean by open weights for everyone listening.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So when we talk about open weights, it means anyone can go online, download, inspect, modify, and actually run an AI model on their own infrastructure.
So you don't have to rent it from a cloud provider anymore.
Exactly. You aren't just getting some open source code on GitHub. You are getting the actual compiled intelligence.
Final brain.
Right. The weights are, the billions or even trillions of mathematical parameters that the model is organized.
Mhm.
You download it, run it locally, and there's no API toll, no latency, no external oversight.
Okay, which makes the list of companies who signed this thing even more staggering. I mean, it's not just infrastructure players like Intel and NVIDIA.
Right.
We've got consumer service giants like Uber and DoorDash signing on.
Which makes sense for them, honestly.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
their margins rely on algorithmic logistics. But then we have the absolute wild card, OpenAI.
yeah, that's the big one.
Right. The company heavily invested in closed models, the ones who practically architected the closed model playbook. Note that Anthropic is noticeably absent from this, by the way.
Yes, very true.
But OpenAI signing this, it's like Coca-Cola and Pepsi suddenly publishing their secret formulas online for anyone to brew in their bathtub.
That is a great analogy.
I mean, wait, why on earth would a closed model pioneer like OpenAI sign a document promoting open models? Like, what's the catch here?
Well, the answer lies in this really harsh geopolitical reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement addresses this directly. The catalyst isn't just some sudden wave of, developer altruism.
Right. They didn't just decide to be nice today.
No, not at all. It's the staggering velocity of Chinese open source AI development. The document specifically points out models like Qwen, which have seen these massive leaps in capability recently.
And what's wild is that they are doing this despite having access to way less funding and way less hardware than American companies.
Exactly. They have strict export restrictions on advanced GPUs, but they've reached a level that's practically on par with top-tier U.S. models.
So this isn't just about developer culture anymore. This is a full-blown battle for national technological influence, right?
Yes, and ecosystem competitiveness. The ecosystem argument here is key. American AI leadership isn't going to be judged by, who has a single glittering frontier model locked in a lab somewhere.
Right.
It's judged by a broad open ecosystem that diffuses into every sector.
Like factories, hospitals, farms.
Exactly. Open weights expand innovation. They allow a mid-sized regional hospital, for example, to deploy AI autonomously. They don't want to pay frontier model prices or deal with the privacy risks, just for simple tasks.
Because they can't be sending sensitive patient diagnostics over the public internet to some centralized AI. They need it running in their own basement, entirely air-gapped.
Right. And open weights make that possible.
Okay, but this brings me to a huge question. If these open models are catching up so rapidly, especially with tighter budgets, how are they doing it?
Yeah. That brings us to a highly controversial technical process.
Right, because there's got to be a shortcut, right?
There it is. It's called distillation. And the statement actually goes to great lengths to explicitly defend it.
Okay, distillation. Break that down for me.
So distillation is basically the practice of using a massive, super advanced model's outputs to train or improve a smaller model.
Hold on. Wait, really? Hasn't distillation historically been viewed by some as, like, infringement or piracy?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it sounds a lot like straight up stealing the closed model's homework. You're basically taking a billion-dollar model and having it teach your cheap model for free.
You're not wrong to think that. But the statement actively defends it. They argue that distillation is a legitimate, widely used technique.
How do they justify that?
They say it reflects a long tradition of learning from existing technologies, standing on the shoulders of giants.
Okay, but practically speaking,
Practically speaking, they are acknowledging that strictly controlling distillation is totally unrealistic.
because it's just a black box of floating point numbers, there's no watermark in the weights.
Exactly. You can't prove a smaller model learned a skill by reading a bigger model's outputs. So punishing distillation would just stifle the entire industry's forward momentum.
Wow, so they're just waving the white flag and saying, if you can't beat them, legitimize it.
Pretty much. And because distillation allows open models to rapidly close the gap with closed models, the entire financial foundation of the AI industry is about to crack.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the money, because this is the AI investment earthquake.
It really is. The traditional logic for AI investment was simple, right? You pour massive, unprecedented amounts of upfront capital into training a closed model.
Right, billions of dollars.
And then you recoup that investment slowly by charging users subscriptions and API fees.
But now we have this concept of the death line.
Yes, the death line for closed giants.
As this gap between open and closed models shrinks to almost nothing, a massive crisis emerges for these big tech companies. Even if a closed model is slightly better, say it scores 99% on a benchmark and the free open one scores 97%,
Right.
users are going to completely refuse to pay premium cash for it when the 97% open model is practically free.
Exactly. If you're a CIO looking at your budget, you don't need a model that can write a symphony just to process customer support tickets.
No, you just need it to work.
Right. So this makes the traditional closed model investment path completely unsustainable. The tech giants are pivoting to open weights because they realize absolute closed model dominance is no longer possible.
They're choosing to cannibalize their own business models before the open source community does it for them.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, but if foundational AI models become these cheap, open, easily interchangeable commodities, what happens to the software built on top of them?
That is where things get really intense for the average software company.
Because AI is drastically lowering the cost of software development, right?
Radically lowering it. We are seeing the collapse of features. The era where you could just write a single program, launch a clever feature, and make a fortune, that is gone forever.
Gone.
Yeah.
Because if I build a highly profitable feature on a Friday using an open model, my competitor doesn't need to spend 6 months reverse engineering it.
No, they can use a similar open model to rebuild or entirely replace it almost instantly over the weekend.
So relying purely on software features is no longer a competitive moat, it's just disappearing.
The software mode is dead. When everyone has access to the same high-quality reasoning engines, the differences in digital functionality are completely smoothed over.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If the models are free and the software can be copied instantly by a machine, how does any business survive? Are we all just out of a job?
It's a terrifying thought, right? But here's a fascinating conclusion, and honestly, the great irony of this whole thing.
Okay, lay it on me.
In an era dominated by artificial intelligence, competitive advantage shifts entirely away from technology.
Wait, away from technology?
Yes, it shifts back to the messy, physical, human world.
Okay, I love this. Let's list these new moats. What are the critical assets businesses actually need to survive now?
The first one is vertical industry knowledge. You can't just have a generic AI. You need an AI shaped by deep, nuanced understanding of a specific physical industry.
Like knowing the exact friction points of maritime shipping ports.
Exactly. The second moat is integration into complex customer workflows.
Right. Weaving your service so deeply into a client's daily operations that ripping you out would be an operational nightmare.
Yep. Then you have unique proprietary data. If the base models are identical everywhere, you need localized real-world data that nobody else has.
The telemetry data from a specific factory floor,
Right. And finally, distribution channels and ecosystems.
which really comes down to human connection.
Totally.
Building deep trust with customers is now way more important than the product itself. Because if I can't dazzle you with a shiny new software feature because my competitor's AI just copied it, I have to dazzle you with trust.
You do. Future success is going to require understanding a customer's real-world environment and relying on long-term organizational knowledge. I mean, we might literally see a return to salespeople going door to door, yeah, building one-on-one relationships, shaking hands. Because the software layer has been completely flattened, human relationships are the only defensible barrier left.
It's like we're catapulting back to the 1950s style of relationship business, just powered by invisible supercomputers.
Exactly.
That is just incredible. So, to bring this all together for you listening, a single statement in July 2026 basically signaled the death of the closed AI monopoly. We're seeing the end of software features acting as a moat and this massive ironic return to human-centric business models.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought to mull over.
Oh, I'm ready.
If the ultimate competitive advantage in a hyper-advanced AI world is actually just basic human connection and deep offline trust,
Yeah.
it raises an important question.
Which is?
Have we been spending the last decade teaching our kids the wrong skills?
Oh, wow.
Right. Like we push learn to code so hard. But perhaps the most future-proof skill isn't learning to code at all. It might just be relearning how to look someone in the eye and build a real community.
That is such a profound way to look at it. Well, thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. Keep asking questions, keep adapting, and we will catch you next time.